Right, welcome back. This is episode 3 of the Roblox Scripting series. In the last one, we did variables, which was how to store and use data. We also covered data types, the different types of data: Boolean, string, numbers, and tables. I think we might have not have done tables. But anyway, this one, we are doing functions and events, which are basically just going to make your game more organized and make your game more interactive for the players. So, just a quick rundown of what it is. Functions is where you write a set of code in a block. You can call the function and it will repeat this code whenever you want, rather than having to write the code out multiple times individually. And then events are pretty much just something that runs code when something happens in the game. So, for example, when a player steps on a block, when a player starts jumping, something like that. That's what events are. So first of all, we're going to have a look at functions. So if I go over into the script here, we're going to first of all look at how to write functions. So to define a function, it's pretty simple. You just write the word function, and then you're going to want to name your function. So I'm just going to do a little greet function that will print something to the terminal. So I put in greet and then press enter. This is how you write a function. This is how you lay it out. You need function to define the function, then the name of your function, then a pair of brackets. Brackets are used just for all functions in all programming languages. You're going to see them a lot. Don't be concerned, it's not anything complicated, you just need them. And then obviously end to exit out the function so the function doesn't run for the entirety of the script. And now inside this function we're going to write code. Now this code can do whatever you want, but in this one we're going to do it very simple. So I'm just going to add a little print statement, which we've already done, and then add a pair of speech marks, and now I'm just going to write something here. So welcome to the game. Very simple. And then I want to make this function run. So to do that, all you need to do is just write this. That's all you need to do, and it will run the function. So if I now go ahead and run my game, you'll see that here in the terminal, in the output, it's just going to run this print from the function. That's literally how you run functions. It's that simple. But there is something that makes it a little more complex, but don't worry, it's not difficult. So now we're going to look at parameters. Parameters are variables pretty much that you pass through these brackets into your function. So say, for example, you only find out the player's name when they join. You're not going to know that when you write the function. So this is where parameters come in. So I'm just going to add a parameter in my brackets here called player name. And now this player name is going to be accessible in the function wherever you go, as long as it's not outside the function. So for example, I wouldn't be able to access player name out here because we're not in the function. There you go, it's giving me a red underline to say it doesn't exist. So if we go back to the function, maybe I want to say welcome and then the player name and then to the game. So if I just do a little bit of string manipulation here, don't worry about this just yet, it's not too important, but you're just adding this player name into this string. So if you just do this, 2 dots means you're adding another string in between these 2 strings. So what this is going to do is say welcome, whatever the player's name is, to the game. And then we're going to need to do something here as well, because we're not actually telling the function yet what the player's name is. Now, parameters aren't dealt with by variable names like you would normally use a variable. They're dealt with by the index. So essentially what indexes are is which position in these brackets here have you passed the data. So we can have as many parameters as we like. So we could have player name, message, time, all separated by commas. But for the simplicity of this one, we're just going to include the name. So to give this function the player's name, all you've got to do is go into these brackets where you're calling the function and just give it the data. So I'm going to give it a string and I'm just going to say Squidingz because that's my name. Right. So now what this is going to do is when this runs, it's going to run this greet function. It's going to call the function. So it's then going to give it whatever you've put in here. So this is a string. This is my name. And then it's going to see that. It's going to receive that data in here. And it's going to run this. And it's going to have the player name. So if I run that really quickly, you'll see it's saying welcome Squidingz to the game. Now, just to make sure you understand it more, we're going to go and do something else with this. So what we're going to do is maybe do some maths with it. We'll make it add 2 numbers. So if I get rid of this and then get rid of the player name here, we're going to give it 2 parameters this time. So we're going to call it number 1 and number 2. Right, and then all we're going to do is print number 1 plus number 2. And then again, we're going to go back to this function where it's called, and we're going to give it now 2 parameters. So let's say we want it to add 6 and 12. And now you'll see if we run the function, it's printing out 18, which is 6 plus 12. So that's just very simple, very basic. In a real world example, you're probably going to be passing player names, maybe characters, data on the player, what they've done, where they're at in your game, something like that. But just for simplicity again, we're going to leave it there. And now we're going to have a look at events. Now for events, we're going to add something else into the game. So we're going to look at when players touch a part. So in my workspace here, I'm just going to add a part. And then let's call this part player part, just the one that we want them to touch. And then I'm just going to make it anchored and make it a bit bigger so it's easier for the player to touch. And then we're going to go back into our script. So first of all, we want to know what part we are listening for when the player is going to touch it. I'm just going to make a new variable and call it part. And then we want to reference this player part that's in our workspace over here. So how we're going to do that is local part equals game.workspace.player part. Now we've already covered this, but what we're doing here is referencing where this part is in our game. So we're going through the game and then into our workspace and then to our player part. Right, and now we want to listen for when this part is touched. Now this is an event. So all you've got to do is part.touched, connect function, and then this parameter, the game is giving you whatever's hit it. So if we go through and explain this, we're looking at this part that's been referenced as the part inside the workspace, and then we're listening for when it's touched by something. Now this might not be a player, but we're not going to do any checking about that or anything right now. We're just going to move on to connect. So this is the function that you're linking it to. You can link this to different functions, but for this we're just going to make a new function for it. Now you don't have to give this function a name, you're just saying you want it to do this when the part is touched. So the game is giving us hit, so the game is giving us what is being, or what part is touching this part. So it could be a player's foot or an arm or something like that. And all we're going to do here is just print hit first of all. So if I go ahead and play the game, you'll see that if I walk over and touch this part, it's telling me what's touching it. Every single time it notices that something's touched the part, it's going to tell me what's touched it. So we're going to go a little bit deeper with that, and we're going to determine what player has touched it. So how we're going to do that is first we'll check that it is a player. Now we'll cover more about this in future. So first of all, we're going to check if this is a player. Now you don't have to worry about this now because we'll cover it later. But if game.players get player from character hit, then so all this is doing is basically saying if there is a player and this character is part of the player, sorry, hit.parent it should be, then we're going to run this bit of code. So first of all, we want to get the player. So local player equals game.players, get player from character, hit.parent, and then we're going to print out the player's name. And then if I run that again, it's going to say my name's, this is the name of the account I'm using. Right, so if we look back through this one more time, just to drill in what events actually do. So this touched command here is essentially saying for the game to wait, and then when something touches this part, we want to run this function here, and the game is passing us this parameter, which is whatever's hit it, and then we can run this code whenever something's done. And that's it. You've now learned what functions and events are in Roblox, and the next time we're going to be looking at statements and loop, if statements and loop. If you found this helpful, give us a like, subscribe, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye.